Creamy Rasta pasta with jerk spiced tofu, made just a little differently. Rasta pasta is a Jamaican-inspired fusion dish with pasta in a rich, creamy sauce seasoned with jerk spices. Traditionally, it includes bell peppers in red, green, and gold, reflecting the Rastafarian colors. And that's where the dish gets its name. I don't digest bell peppers very well, so I'm making a slightly different version here, using carrots, broccoli, and baby corn instead to keep that colorful balance in a slightly different way. I begin by bringing a pot of water to a boil for the pasta. A teaspoon of salt, and just a small drizzle of oil. While that's heating, I move on to the broccoli, cutting them into small florets, just enough to cook through while still keeping some texture. The pasta goes in once the water is ready. I continue with the carrots, slicing them into thin half moons. From here, it becomes a gentle rhythm, a little chopping, a little stirring, letting things move at their own pace. Once the pasta is cooked, I drain it and reserve the cooking liquid. Here there's just about 1.5 cups, which is exactly what we'll need later to bring the sauce together. You can slice the baby corn however you like. Green onions are sliced too and set aside. For the ginger, I peel it with a spoon, then grate it finely. It releases its aroma almost immediately. You can also use pre-minced ginger if you have it on hand. We shared a previous video on how to mince and preserve ginger. I'll leave the link in the description. Rasta pasta is actually quite a modern dish, but it carries a lot of character from the flavors it brings together. Next is the tofu. I pat it dry gently with a kitchen towel or paper towel. Heat a little oil over medium heat. Crumble the tofu directly into the pan. I prefer this texture here. The uneven pieces create more edges, more pockets to catch the sauce and flavor. I let it cook without moving it too much at first. This step takes a little time, but it's where the texture really develops. As it cooks, the tofu begins to change, the raw scent fades, and something more toasted starts to come through. It's a small shift, but once you notice it, it becomes easy to recognize. That's usually when I know it's ready. Now I add a splash of soy sauce, a little jerk seasoning, a touch of cayenne, and a couple spoonfuls of coconut milk. It comes together into a light, shiny coating that adds depth to the flavor and aroma and gives the tofu a nice finish. Then I remove it from the pan and set aside. If you're enjoying this so far, you can give it a little hype so it reaches a few more kitchens. In the same pan, I add a little more oil. The ginger and half of the green onions go in first. Then carrots and broccoli. If you'd like the full recipe written out, it's on the blog as usual. I've linked it below. Cover and let cook for a few minutes. Then add in the baby corn. And the mushrooms. They only need a few minutes. I like to keep a bit of texture in them. They'll continue to cook a little further in the sauce. Then I make a small space in the pan and add the jerk seasoning, paprika, and dried thyme. Jerk seasoning has a warmth and depth that lingers, slightly sweet, a little earthy, with a gentle heat that builds slowly. Letting the spices warm in the oil for a few seconds really opens them up. Then I mix everything through. The coconut milk goes in next, along with a little of the reserved pasta liquid. This is where everything settles into place. This dish is also very flexible. You can adjust the vegetables or the protein depending on what you have. Vegetable bouillon powder is optional, and it adds another layer of flavor into the sauce. I add in a few sprigs of fresh thyme for a little more presence. Cover and simmer briefly. Mix a little of the pasta liquid with the cornstarch to make a slurry. Add this to the pan and stir immediately. As it warms, it turns into a creamy sauce that brings everything together. Now the pasta goes back into the pan. This is where the fusion really comes through. The creaminess softens the spices and creates something that feels both vibrant and comforting at the same time. The sauce clings to the pasta, coating it without feeling too heavy. Add a few spoonfuls of nutritional yeast or vegan grated cheese to your liking. I add the remaining green onions for a bit of freshness and give it a gentle stir. A little cayenne goes in here as well, depending on how much heat you want. Remove the sprigs of thyme. This dish looks quite vibrant, but the process itself is actually very simple once everything is prepared. I taste from the pan. This is really nice. Everything feels balanced and settled. To serve, I plate the pasta first, then the jerk tofu goes on top, and a final touch of fresh cilantro to balance the warm spices. And now it's time to enjoy what you've just made, while the sauce is still creamy and everything is at its best. However you make it, I hope you enjoy the process as much as the meal. Wishing you a beautiful day. I'll see you soon.